Hello, it's time for a little bit of hair talk. I wanted to speak with you today about glycolic acid. And this is a question that has come across my email box, and I think that it's really, really important for us to address this. So I'm going to quickly give you my opinion on whether or not it can be used on the hair. I'm a trichologist, but I'm also an esthetician as well. And one of the things I do in my practice as I treat the hair and scalp is I keep in mind that the hair and scalp, or the scalp is skin, and the hair is just a byproduct of our scalp. So, one of the things that I want to make you understand today is when you start thinking about putting things on the hair and to treat the hair and scalp, you have to remember what the hair is and what their scalp is. So we'll start with the scalp as skin. I conducted a study called Scalp as Skin. And what I wanted to prove in that study is theories that I had about how our scalp responds and how closely related it responds and to things that are applied to the surface of it, just like our face would, our body would, and how close that's related. Then I looked at the hair and I conducted a study that to prove what actually protects and preserve our hair and how we literally destroy our hair. So part of the things that I found out is that things that attach to the skin or the epidermis portion of the skin, which is those superficial layers, as well as the hair, which is superficial layers of the skin or byproduct, is that when you do this, you have to focus on protecting and preserving. So, with that being said, let's look at the scalp as skin. The scalp goes through a renewing process, just like your body does. And after about 45 days of consistent, proper care, you are going to have new skin, new scalp. So the goal is to create a clean, acidic, stimulated, hydrated environment so that your skin will consistently renew itself. The hair, you have to protect and preserve it. It's just keratinized dead cells. Unlike parts of the skin, the dermis, it's live tissue. So it's attached more, it has more life than, say, the epidermis, which is the superficial layers that will shed off. So you want to create a clean, acidic, stimulated, hydrated environment for your scalp, and you want to protect and preserve your hair. How do you do that? You protect by not over using chemicals, heat, things like that. You have to look at the actual what your hair can tolerate, and then you have to keep it balanced. Then you have to make sure you have a balance of protein and moisture. So many are afraid of protein, saying I'm protein allergic, and that's no such. Your hair is not allergic to protein. You just cannot overuse it because then you dehydrate. Your moisture levels, if you overuse moisturizers, and it's very much so needed, especially with women with natural, kinky, or dry hair, then you can have flyaways and frizzies. So you want to have a balance. There's a delicate protein and moisture level within the hair shaft that must always stay balanced. So the scalp is skin, the hair is just dead keratinized cells that we want to protect and preserve and look alive. So it brings us back to glycolic acid. What happens when it's placed on the skin and what happens when it's placed on the hair? Now, initially, if you think about it and remember, if you've ever had facials and you've had facial peels and you've used certain scrubs, you may have heard this word or this used, or this may be been one of the ingredients used in your skincare program or regimen. Well, what happens, it started out as just a scrub, using it to scrub. It also started out with using it as helping to exfoliate the skin. But what is this made of? This glycolic acid is basically made of just fruit. I mean, and other carbs like sugar, grapes, beets, and they're made of, but you got to remember it's very powerful because of the molecular weight. The molecules that make up this glycolic acid, it actually can penetrate very deep into the pore, and it can help and it can change how that skin renews. And with the hair, we'll put that on pause. Let's put a pin in that. We'll talk about the difference in what it does with the hair. Now, with the skin, it just peels and helps with that renewing process. But you have to be careful because overuse of it could dehydrate, even cause your epidermis to wear too quickly, and you can have skin burns, first degree skin damage, first degree burns. And so you want to be really careful. But let's get to hair because that's the big question, and that's the old buzz right now. Oh, it can help my hair. Basically, what it does, it basically exfoliates the hair. It helps to kind of detox that hair where it breaks up and breaks down all of those negative pollutants on the hair, the dust, dirt, and debris. But it does not necessarily clean, and it definitely cannot balance protein and moisture. So be really careful. Now, why would some, and it's going to be a buzz, and it may even get bigger before it gets smaller. So keep in mind, it's kind of like what co-washing and all these other things that you heard about, and everybody just went crazy saying, "Yay, I want to do this." Well, be careful about glycolic acid because what happens is when it detoxes or exfoliates your hair strand, it basically takes all of that buildup of hairsprays and those cones and all those other kinds of products that we use to style our hair, and even products that we may use to condition our hair that clog up those pores. It removes that. So when you go back to your conditioners, it tends to go in deeper and it can do more repair work. But you want to use something that's going to be a little bit milder on the cuticle. So be really, really careful when you're using that kind of product. Now, when you're going to condition your hair, you want to make sure that you keep things very simple and very basic. You want to clarify. You just want to remove what's unnatural and leave what's natural. And the way you do that is look at the pH of your products. You want to look at the pH of your shampoo most especially. You want to look at that. If you do a glycolic acid shampoo, you may have to be careful because what happens, it may be too acidic and it starts to dehydrate the hair. Once it gets in and breaks up and break down, it may have the pH so low that the hair dehydrates. Is it a good treatment for the hair? I would have to give it a thumbs down and say no. Because eventually, this is short term. Short term, you're gonna do okay. You're gonna feel like, wow, this is great. I'm doing great. But long term, you're gonna feel very dry, very brittle over a period of time. Now, the balance here, if you can keep the protein and moisture level balanced, then you may find some benefits longer than, say, someone who just uses it as a treatment. But using it as a treatment alone is going to dry out the hair. Using it to detox the hair or using it to clean out the pores of the strand and even your scalp, because some have asked about using it as for dandruff, and that's a whole nother chapter. It is going to help to slough off and help break up and break down, but it does not clean. And if it's put in a shampoo, the pH is going to be lower, and then you're going to have problems with it dehydrating. So be careful about doing that. Make sure that you keep this product where it belongs. I think it's great for the skin, and I think only professionals should use that for the skin, and I don't think it's good for the hair because eventually you're going to have dehydration. If you have any questions for me, you're welcome to put them or comments. Put them in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to address them one at a time, or you can email me. And let me give you my email address. Let's put that right here. It's Lisa at LisaAkbari.com. And I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Thanks so much. You guys have a wonderful, blessed morning, evening, or afternoon.